we need to ask ourselves, are we reveling or are we recoiling from our wicked nature of not caring? We've got to learn to distinguish between unavoidable paradoxes and deliberately deceptive training. That's imperative. You know, we talk about murder. We've got to understand that there's a big difference between killing and murder. If you kill in self-defense, that's killing. That is not premeditated. There's no malice aforethought there. Okay, it's with a clean heart. So God doesn't hold it against. Like Moses. I mean, he didn't think about what he did. It just happened. And I much more approve of that happening. I mean, if you catch a molester molesting your child, and you just happen to break his neck, I mean, you didn't really murder him. You didn't think about it. You're in a state of temporary insanity, okay, like Moses, right? And you just broke his neck. So I approve of that much more than I do of first degree capital punishment, okay, because that to me is just too much of the malice aforethought there, that it's all about vengeance and under the pretext of deterrent. Okay, no, we want to say, no, we want him dead, you know what I mean? We want to get back, we want revenge. That's what that's all about. So, and there's 101 reasons I could debate somebody on why capital punishment is wrong. You might get the wrong guy. I mean, that's just the nuts and bolts fact that nobody can argue. That does happen. So that's enough. I mean, if it's 1 in a billion, it doesn't matter. You'll stand before God with your beliefs. I'll stand before God with mine. That's it. Simple as that. I wrote quite a bit on this issue that I'm not going to recite at this moment. But if I ever write a book, it'll go in there. Just trying to help people understand the differences between gray areas when it comes to understanding this idea of pleasing God and finding redemption and finding, His approval, gaining His approval, and being found deserving and worthy of going to a better world. He's not hung up on the excruciating minutia. Those things that might be sin to one man that aren't to another are manifold. Many of these, okay, that we get hung up with, and we all are filled with consternation. Oh, look at that person. They're getting away with sin and all this, and it's just minutia. It doesn't matter. Adulterer, I mean, we're all adulterers. If God was going to just not let any adulterers go to heaven, nobody would be there. Okay? That's it. That's the way it is. So, and we've all been murderers too. That's it. We have all been. So all we can do is repent and say, look, I'm not going to have a dirty heart. No malice aforethought anymore. I'm going to put it out of my mind. If I kill somebody, it's going to be spur of the moment, spontaneous, temporary insanity like that. But I'm never going to think about it and plan it out, okay, because that's a filthy, dirty heart. That's murder. And anybody can do it. It's just a state of your heart, okay? So we've all done it. Whenever you thought hateful things about another human being, wishing lightning bolts would hit them, that's wrong. That's immoral. And we can all do it. We can all be subject to it. All you can do is catch yourself in that thought and say, God, help me. I do not want to be a murderer. Help me. Help my filthy heart, God. So it's like that with anything. No, I don't want to be an adulterer. Does that please God? Look what King David did. I mean, it's disgusting with Bathsheba and sending her husband off, Uriah the Hittite, to the front lines to be killed. And then, if I'm not mistaken, she was pregnant, and isn't that King Solomon? So it's a remarkable story, very intriguing and very sordid. But it cut King David's conscience to the quick, and he was hurting bad. So he pled with God, and he was forgiven. So this is it. Anybody can be forgiven for anything. If King David could be forgiven for a transgression like that, because in God's infinite wisdom, He really did not give us the power to take another person's life. Okay. And that's good news for anybody that's murdered and is feeling remorse, feeling on the verge of suicide. That's very good news. That's what the gospel is. It's full of good news. In order for them, quote, that's the evildoers, grand puppeteers, the illegitimate overlords, to continue to get their way with legendary fraud, get away with legendary fraud, with stealing the wealth of our nation right out from under our noses, it is imperative that they maintain a critical mass of pissants that perceive a benefit from to them, regardless of the harm to others, of maintaining this established economic trajectory. Yep. So they're really walking a tightrope. These monsters that have been running us around by the nose are really walking a tightrope, and they know they're ready to fall off it, and they are. And so they're going to start jumping ship. It's going to get too damn hot in the kitchen when these people start falling like dominoes and being exposed to the light of day, to the light of truth. It's going to get really hot, and they're going to start bailing. Watch. It's going to happen soon, because if we really are reaching the end of the age, God's putting his foot down, and he's doing it through human beings. He's using us, okay, to be his foot soldiers, his eyes and ears on the ground, the upright, the decent, the righteous, that are willing to set the captives free, all the captives, not some of them. Humans share some common needs. Among those needs are mercy, compassion, empathy, forgiveness, understanding, respect, sensitivity, hope, dreams, and above all, love and affection from each other, from ourselves, and from God. Yes, even loving ourselves. God can help us to love ourselves when we feel unlovable. He's our friend. Like that poem, Footprints. When it's hardest in our lives, when it seems darkest, always remember, yes, darkest before the dawn, but always remember, in those times of great trial, when you feel like God has forsaken you and abandoned you, remember, it's those periods he's actually carrying you. If you hang in there with him, with just a mustard seed of faith, he'll see you through whatever you need to be seen through of. All of us. Because his love is without bounds. That agape love, unconditional love. Just keep turning to him, confess when we're wrong, admit when we're wrong, and carry on. I wonder how in the world we are found fit to inherit. Oh no. Sorry. I wonder how the world we are found fit to inherit will be decided. Will it be solely on what we deserve, or perhaps a place just as good as we can possibly imagine? Or maybe it will simply be the world we are ready for, or possibly some combination thereof, with many more nuanced aspects involved in deciding our reality in the hereafter. Yeah, I like to ponder those things, But mainly I think it's the world we deserve. And, you spend time cultivating, imagining that world you want, and down to the smallest details. Is there going to be toilet paper in that world? You see, I kind of am of the school of thought that no, we're going to have a body that's so advanced that anything we consume will evaporate as a beautiful, fragrant aroma, like a gardenia or a honeysuckle. You understand? I mean, use your imagination. It can be that way. So I'm not saying how the body is going to be configured, but do we have to lose any of our senses? No, I'm of the school of thought that we don't need to lose any of our senses with this super advanced, superior body that we'll have. It is unequivocally unjust that such extreme fear from lack of money be foisted upon the people by those whom possess the illegitimate authority obtained through fraud and violence to print and issue our money. Right, I mean, these are not good people. While I'd trust 90% of the American people with the printing and issuance of our currency because they were against the bailout of '08, they understood basic capitalism instinctively. They understood supply and demand and right from wrong, basically. They understood capitalism, and they knew that's a market correction, that we needed to have that. They knew there was fraud, that people overextended themselves deliberately to their own perceived advantage to steal the wealth of our nation. They created all these home foreclosures, and as long as they benefited, they didn't give a crap. So it's very sick and twisted and evil. when I make statements like, I'm a pacifist, or I'm an egalitarian, or as I believe in God, it may well be more apt to say, I want to hate violence. I want full equality in the highest meaning of the term, and I want to believe. In other words, I'm more of a